Hello Ghillie boys and girls, Ghillie Striker here. Today is a very special video because this is probably the one that took me the most time writing and doing the montage. Also, for the first time, I wrote the entire text in English and I'll be speaking instead of writing things. This video is not about striker things, it's about generalized advice that can be applied to each classes. I'm going to talk about how to improve your money per hour by grinding monsters in Black Desert Online. This is a subject I studied a lot during the last months as I tryharded my secret tokens, slowly pushing from 4k9 tokens as 277 Kudum Awakening Striker to 5k8 as Succession Striker with same AP, and even more slowly from 6k2 to 6k9 tokens per hour as 289 Kudum Succession Striker. I try my best to share with you my experience about grinding and all the steps I took to reach my objective and get the best of my grinding hours. Mindset. Let's start by talking about the mindset, because improving your grind is mostly about your mindset and your will to improve. Damage uptime. First, we are going to talk about the most important thing. It could appear to be really obvious for some of you, but it's a must. I'm talking about the damage uptime. During a grinding hour, you'll be running from pack to pack, placing yourself, hitting, dodging monster hits, being CC'd. Some of you will also be texting, watching some movies, or speaking with friends on Discord. All the real life category actions must be removed from your grinding if you want to push your token records. The point is that tokens per hour speaking, the only variable of all this in-game action will be your character hitting monsters. If you want to improve your tokens, you'll have to focus on how you could optimize all your other in-game action in order to be 100% of the time hitting 10 monsters whenever you can. Analyze. Let's talk about analyzing your grind. One of the most important things to understand about optimizing your grind is that you must be able to track your results. If you want to start doing it easily, just clean up all your tokens from your inventory. Start your loot scroll or your grinding hour and then write somewhere the token you did once you're done. After doing this for a few hours, let's say 10 hours, you should be able to figure out what's your average token per hour. If you have huge difference between your grinding hours, you should work on being more consistent on your tokens. Note that it can be very difficult to be consistent on random spots as heavier weapons are breaking the average. If you want to figure out a little bit more precisely your average token per hour, you should start tracking all your loot in Google Sheet or using the Timecodes grind tracker. You can find my Google Sheet in the description if you want to copy them. Else, I strongly invite you to start tracking your loot using the Timecodes tool. I've been speaking with the Timecodes developer lately. This guy is doing a very strong and useful work. He also assured me that his work will remain free to use. Requirements. Let's talk about the in-game and physical requirements needed to improve your grind. Stats. What about the in-game requirements for a good grind now? I'd say it's about 4 main things: AP, DP, CC resistance, and accuracy. As you can imagine, your AP is the stat increasing your damage. This one is really important, and theoretically, the more AP you'll get, the more tokens you'll collect. But keep in mind that in practice, increasing your AP is not necessarily the best move for increasing your tokens, depending on the state of your gear. If you've got too few DP for the place you are actually grinding, you'll have to focus on surviving and use more defensive skills, decreasing your damage uptime, meaning less token per hours. Also, in most cases, a good DP is also a way to win more encounters in duels, and reduce the time you lose if you've got to switch server after you lost. Remember, depending on the state of your gear, DP can be a game changer, money per hour speaking. Don't forget CC resistance. This one is really underrated, but obviously, the less CC you take, the more tokens you get. Avoiding getting CC is a good way to improve your damage uptime. I strongly recommend using at least Adamantine's red battlefield crystals and Griffon's helmet to get some easy CC resistance. Last but not least stats, accuracy. Having a 100% accuracy score on the monster you're grinding is really important. To give an example, 95% accuracy score is a 5% average and overall less damage at the end of the hour. So, theoretically, once again, 5% less token. You can use the PvE hit rate calculator on Timecodes.com once again to figure out what's your actual score on the place you're grinding at. In-game. There are some in-game requirements that you can add up to increase your tokens and money per hour. The most important of it are using 5 T4 pets, using PvE-oriented add-ons, using a Camasylvia blessing, and leveling the node related to your grinding spots. Device. In BDO, there are 2 out-of-the-game factors that will heavily impact your token per hours. First, FPS. Depending on your class, the amount and consistency of your FPS can make a real difference. From what I've been told, actually, Succession Striker should lose some damage under 120 FPS, Awakening Warriors under 200 FPS, while Guardiana can have a consistent damage pool at 60 FPS. I can tell you the exact amount of FPS you should aim for. You'll have to find it out by yourself, depending on your class. Be very careful about that data because I can give you really accurate examples. Giving you my own experience, I went from 6k 5 tokens to 6k 7 lower Secraya, from grinding with 90 average FPS to 110 average FPS. If you want to start improving about this, I recommend you lowering your game quality and grind under full screen. Second point, internet connection is really important too. I used to play with ADSL and a very bad upload score leading to lags while hitting mobs and looting it. You can make a good +5 to +10% more tokens from a bad internet connection to a stable internet connection. So now we'll be speaking about expert advice. Before you try out this part of the video, you'll have to understand, figure out, and master everything I've told just before. How to practice. If you are doing the same thing, the same way, every day, you won't progress. You'll have to practice a lot. As I told before, you'll need to analyze your grind, you must figure out what's your best token score per hour and be able to reproduce it. Once you can make 10 times your best token per hour score, I mean in a 100 token range, you can start modifying some details. Just try new things one by one. For example, you can change a skill in your combo, add one skill, try a different pool. At the end of the hour, you will be able to analyze if your detail changing has lowered or increased your tokens. If the token lowered, just try something else. If the tokens are the same, try again and improve. If your tokens increased, write what you did and start including it in your gameplay. Record yourself. I highly recommend you to record yourself playing. I personally use NVIDIA GeForce to record my grind. You can record full hours of grind and analyze your own errors and improvement. I also advise you to use the Action Replay recording tool to record your last 5 minutes of gameplay when you think you did something good so you can remember it later. Sound and opacity. If you really want to get into triading new tokens, I recommend you stop speaking with your mates, stop listening to some music, just focus on your skill's noise. Why is it that important? Being able to perform your combo as quick as possible means that you must have a perfect rhythm of it. Listening your combo will help your brain finding the precise timing of your skill rotation and doing it several times perfectly will increase your damage uptime. Note that this one is from my personal experiment, probably won't work the same for everybody. Also, even if you've been playing your class for a while, I recommend you to use a high opacity when you start grinding a new place. In BDO, skill animation are highly related to hitbox. Pull. An adapted pulling method is the key for a high token score. The good pulling method is related to your damage. There are two scenarios, high damage and low damage. First scenario, you have high damage for the place you're grinding. You'll try to kill more than 10 monsters each combo. To be able to kill 10 plus monsters, you'll have to pull 10 monsters into another pack, making you able to kill up to 20 monsters if you have a very high damage for the place. Second scenario, you have a little damage and you can barely kill 10 mobs each combos. You need to focus on having exactly 10 mobs on you, not 9, not 11. 10 mobs is your main focus. Whatever is your adapted pulling method, you'll have to focus on always having 10 mobs on you. E buff and Z buff. Once you've mastered everything I told you just before, you'll need to focus on your E buff, Z buff gesture. Depending on your damage, your Z buff will charge more or less rapidly. Having some Tongue-Rats accessory will increase your total Black Spirit rage. That will help you not wasting some precious BSR percent. In most cases, you will want to be under Z buff or E buff while grinding. With a good gesture of those buffs, you should be able to be buffed for 2 minutes and 30 seconds every 3 minutes of grinding. You have to keep an eye on those buffs all the time and make sure you're making them worth. Looting. Pulling a high number of tokens is also related to your looting method. At the beginning, I used to loot all the mobs before going to the next pack. But after trying a lot of different things, I figured out the most efficient way of looting monsters in BDO. There are 3 scenarios leading to 3 ways of looting. First, you kill the entire pack at the same time. Just loot one mob and get to the other pack. Second, you kill the entire pack at the same time, but there is another pack near this one, and you can kill the new pack while your pets still loot the other pack. Don't loot. Third, you brought 10 mobs on another pack. You'll have to make a full combo or a full combo plus some additional skills. Don't loot. Not looting monster can be frustrating, but trust me, it's really worth in the end. If you are getting too frustrated, just understand that the monster you killed but did not loot still gave you some BSR percent. You must see it as some Z buff fuel. Last word, having fun is more important than pulling a little bit more tokens. Have fun and money will come. Keep in mind that this video is only about going beyond your own limits. Trying to improve your grind is really important because it will allow you to get more money. But tryharding is not for every player. If you don't enjoy tryharding, just don't do it. Grinding 1 more hour because it's fun for you will always be more efficient than grinding 1 hour and stopping because you're tired. I really hope these advices will help you improving your grind. Just let me know in the comments if these advice have been useful for you and how they helped you to improve. Thanks a lot for watching, have a good one and see you later. Bye guys.